Hey guys, I've got my May favorites for you today. It is mostly makeup, but I have one tool and one skincare item to share with you. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. Like I've done in the past, I recorded myself putting on my makeup today, which is comprised of favorites. So I'll do some split screens of me actually applying some of the products that I'll be talking about. So let's go ahead and actually start with the skincare product that I wanted to share with you. This is the 3Lab M Cream Ultimate Lift. And this is something that was sent to me through Octoly from 3Lab, and it is a face cream. And I have just always been really curious about 3Lab. They're carried at Barney's, and every time I went into Barney's, I would kind of check out their counter, but then just sort of backed away because I have, well, one, a lot of skincare to kind of go through, and two, I don't change up my skincare routine that often. You know, when I get comfortable with a routine, I pretty much stick to it. But when I saw this available on Octoly to order, and Octoly is a site, if you guys don't know, is a site for content creators or influencers to go and quote unquote, order products. Basically what you're doing is requesting it from the company, and they'll either approve or decline your request. And I was so thrilled when 3Labs decided to send this to me. So I just thought it was a great opportunity to try some different skincare. And I have been using this as my day cream. If you guys watched my morning skincare routine video, which I'll try to remember to link up here, I was using the Sicily Velvet Nourishing Cream, which I love. I absolutely love that cream. But this cream is a little bit lighter. It's kind of like a gel cream. So when you apply it to the skin, it has a really nice cooling effect, and it has been wonderful. Now that the seasons are changing here in Vegas, it gets very warm. So this has been the day cream that I've been reaching for probably since I got this. I want to say for the past month. It just acts as a really nice moisturizer. It sinks into the skin pretty quickly, so it doesn't interfere. At least I don't feel like it interferes with my makeup application or anything like that. So I have really been enjoying this M cream. It's wonderful. All right, next up I have two base products that I feel like I've really been dominating this past month. One is the Sicily Tinted Sunscreen Cream. I feel like I've been talking about this a lot this past month, probably because it's what I think of when the weather does start to get warm. It does have an SPF of 30, and it just has a lovely coverage. I've worn this a lot, and I've talked about this a lot, so I'm not going to bore you too much with this, but I just love it. It's great. It has like a light medium kind of coverage. It looks really natural on the skin. I don't feel like I have like a mask of makeup, even though it has like pretty decent coverage, and it's just really comfortable. I have it in the shade 1 Natural, which works really well on my skin tone. So I've been loving this one this past month. But the other one I want to mention, and what I have on my skin today, is the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh Tint. I reviewed this product. I really liked it then. I thought it looked really nice on the skin. I am definitely someone that likes like a light coverage type of foundation, especially when the weather gets warmer. I don't know, I just want to look a little bit more natural and dewy and radiant. And this pretty much gives me all of that. And what was I saying? Oh, so what I was starting to say was when I reviewed this, I really liked this product. But the more I used this product, the more I just really fell in love with it. I feel like it does a really interesting camouflaging effect. It is so sheer. It goes on really like water. It has these little like bubbles in there with pigment that you need to kind of break up on the back of your hand and with a brush. And you'll see the pigment kind of start to mix with the base of this, which is kind of like this watery gel base. And when you apply it to the skin, it just feels really cooling on the skin. And at first, it almost seems like there's like zero coverage, like zero coverage. And I thought, well, I like a light coverage, but I need a little help. But the more I kind of like worked it in, I really started to notice that my complexion was really evening out. And there's like just a hint of it. So it really doesn't look like you're wearing any makeup, but it's also like, is that her real skin? You know, like, does she have any makeup on? Because this really is like a your skin, but better kind of base. And I've been loving it. I feel like the only downside to this is that I need a lot. Usually when it comes to foundations, I need, like if it comes in a pump like this, I need maybe like 2 pumps at most, like a pump and a half. This, I need like 6 pumps. I need like 2 for each cheek and then 2 on my forehead. And then I feel like, not that I get the coverage that I need, but I actually like have enough product to actually kind of like spread around my entire face. So I would say that's the only downside to this, is that I'm probably going to be going through this pretty quickly. At least you can see when you're going to be running out, but you guys can see that I've used up quite a bit already. So these are the two base products that I've been loving this past month. So as for concealer, I have still been loving my Armani Power Fabric Stretchable Concealer. Let's not beat that dead horse. So I just wanted to mention, this is something I've also mentioned quite a bit too, but like not quite as recently as the Armani, but this is the Sicily Stilo Lumiere. I think it's considered a concealer in their line, but they call it more of like a brightening highlighting pen. So this has less coverage than the Armani. And when I use products like this one, which has a light coverage, I want a lighter coverage concealer. Otherwise it doesn't really mesh well. So I've been using this one, and I have this around my eyes today. It has like a sponge tip applicator. So I just kind of, dab like 3 dabs underneath each eye and like 1 on each eyelid. I have it in the shade number 2, and it really does a good job. Again, kind of like that Water Fresh tint, it just kind of covers up enough. And this shade for me, it has like a little bit of a peachy tint to it, does a little bit of like color correcting, like just the tiniest bit, nothing major. And if you're going for like a natural look, like if you did use a really light foundation, this just works really nicely with it. So I've been reaching for this when I've been reaching for lighter foundations. In terms of powder, nothing new here either. I'm still really just going hard with this Kogendo natural lighting powder. It's just wonderful. I've also talked about this one to death, but if you are new here and you don't know why I love this powder, the reason why I love this powder is because I definitely like a more matte powder when I set my foundation, even though I have dry skin. What I like to do in terms of doing this is just kind of leave it to highlighters and finishing powder and things. But when I set my makeup, I want something on the matter side. This powder, while it's matte, it has just like the slightest bit of radiance. So if you use like a highlighting cream product underneath, it doesn't completely dampen it. So it just leaves like the most beautiful finish to your skin. I absolutely love it. It's very light. Like I said, I have dry skin. It never makes my skin look dry. It's gorgeous. So I am still going strong with this Kogendo powder. All right. Bronzers and contours. So I have played with and spoken about a lot of bronzers this past month, and a lot of them I still feel like are a little bit too new for me to mention in a favorites. I haven't used them all month, or because I've just purchased and played with so many that I'm kind of just going through all of them. But one that really stands out, no surprise, is this Natasha-Nonna Tan Bronze and Glow palette. I don't have all of the palette on my face today. I'm using this cream base just as like a little bit of a base for a different bronzer I want to talk about. But I'm really loving this one. I have the Bloom Blush and Glow palette. I just really like the size of these palettes. I think they're compact, but they're not too tiny. And I like the variety of products in here, the cream, the powder, the highlight. Like you pretty much cover all of your cheek with these palettes, either the Bloom or the bronze, kind of depending on what mood you're in. So this blush and bronze powder in here can be a little bit deep for my skin tone, but I think if you use a light hand, it really just is like this beautiful wash of like a bronze color. So I find this palette works for my skin tone. I love this palette. I think all of the products in here are just really beautiful. So the other bronzer I've been reaching for a lot is this Chanel bronzer and highlighting duo. This is in the shade medium. And if you guys watched my cruise collection video, which again, I'll try and remember to link up here, I purchased the light shade because I am fairly fair, but the bronze powder in there was so light. I mean, it was even too light to be a blush. It was just this kind of strange peachy tone. So I thought, let me just go ahead and try this medium one. And many of you actually urged me on to purchase this palette, saying that it would probably work for my skin tone, and it does. And so that's what I have over the cream base from the Natasha-Nonna palette. I have this bronzer on. So that's what I have on my skin. And I'm so glad that I got the medium. And I've really been reaching for this quite a bit. It definitely has been the bronzer that I'm reaching for when I'm kind of thinking of something, kind of neutral. If I don't want something especially too warm or too cool, I've been reaching for this one. And the other one I've been reaching for is the Tom Ford Soleil Glow Bronzer in Terra. And I mentioned that last month, and I just didn't want to be too repetitive. So anyway, this is the one bronzer that I've really been reaching for that I didn't feel like was too new, and I didn't feel like I was repeating myself. So this is the bronzer highlighter duo in medium. And as for blushes, these two Laura Mercier blushes have been just blowing me away. These are the Blush Color Infusion blushes, and I have Fresco and Peach. I love them both, but I've been reaching for Fresco more only because it's a little bit more neutral. So here is Fresco. There's also a lot of shimmer in there, and I definitely like a shimmery blush or blush with a sheen to it. So this really speaks to me, but It's just such a beautiful, beautiful shade. I love it. I have it on my cheeks today, and it works just really, really well with like any other bronzer or highlighter that I've been using. Yeah, it's just really worked well. But the other one that I have is this peach color. And this one also has a little bit of a sheen, less kind of glittery bits in it than the Fresco, but this is just a really bright, pretty, pretty blush. And I feel like if I want kind of a stronger cheek, I'll pull this out and put it like on the apples of my cheeks. And it just gives me that beautiful, like healthy flush that we all love to have, especially as we get older. And it just makes my face look just, you know, a little bit more youthful and healthy. And yeah, I've just been loving it. These are a great pair too, the Fresco and the peach, like the Fresco all over your cheek and the peach on the apples of your cheek. Like I just mentioned, they just work really well together. So I have been loving these, and they're pretty well pigmented. They also stay on my cheeks all day, which is great for blush. So these are just great, great blushes. All right, moving on to highlighter. I feel like this is a category that is always very difficult for me to choose because I just like using a different highlighter almost every day. I'll just kind of go through my collection and just pick one that kind of speaks to me or whatever, and I'll use that. But there is one highlighter that has stood out, and that is the Guerlain Terracotta Highlighting Stick. I have it in the shade Nude. It comes in 4 different shades, and this shade is definitely the friendliest for my skin tone. There's one with like a little bit more pink in there, and then there's 2 that are more gold and then deeper. So this Nude is probably the most neutral. The cap is really nice and tight. But what I love about this cream highlight is that it's a bit stronger than most other cream highlights I have. Usually I reach for cream highlights if I want something really subtle, really kind of soft, really just has like a nice satin finish to it. This one, and I have this on my cheeks today, that's all I have in terms of highlight. And it's so wet and bright and like metallic looking. It really almost looks like I have like a Beige Gelée like powder formula on my cheeks, but that is just this highlighting stick. So I've been really impressed with the effects of this, the formula. It goes on really nicely. It's not too powdery. I don't like cream products that totally set down too powdery, but I really don't like cream products that stay a little too ooey gooey on the skin. This doesn't do that. This definitely kind of like sets down, but it never feels too dry or powdery. It just kind of stays put. So I've been really impressed with this. I've actually been really impressed with all the things that I got from this line, but again, it felt a little bit new. I actually even hesitated in talking about this one, but it was really kind of stand out for me as soon as I got this. So anyway, you'll probably hear me talk about the rest of the line in next month's favorites. All right, and in terms of eyebrows, nothing new here. The Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel, I love it. If you're new to my channel, this is pretty much all I use. Sometimes I'll use a pencil if I feel like I need a little bit more of a darker brow, but I love this product. It's just the perfect consistency, the perfect color. It does have fibers in there, but it's not too much where I feel like it just is kind of like a messy nest of fibers. It just has a little bit just to kind of like add a little bit of oomph to your brows. It's great. It's all I have in my brows today. I just brushed like a light amount into my brows. I'm not really into like a super bold brow, but I do want a little something because I have some like sparse brow areas, and this really helps fill them in. So this is nothing new. I have like 2 or 3 backups in my drawer. It's just the brow product that I always reach for. Eyeshadows. This has been an incredibly eyeshadow heavy month, so I'm going to be talking about a lot. I hope you don't mind. The first one I want to mention is probably my favorite, and no surprise there because this is my custom made Viseart palette. So Viseart just came out with single shadows. I did a whole video on that, and again, I'll try and remember to link the video up here, but in that video's description box, I have a listing of all the shadows that I have in my custom palette. I have been traveling with this alone, just this palette. I took it to Toronto, I took it to LA, and it has come through for any occasion that I need. So like in Toronto, I just needed like a quick, natural look, nothing too crazy. In LA, I was there for DragCon, so I needed something a little bit stronger, a little bit more creative, and this palette kind of just came through for both occasions, and that is why I wanted to create this palette. I wanted it to be able to kind of do everything that I need so that if I just needed to quickly grab a palette, I knew that this one one would kind of work for any occasion. So I have some mattes in here, I have some satins, I have some metallics, and I just love this palette. I'm actually leaving first thing tomorrow morning for a business trip, and this is definitely coming with me. Loving my custom Bezier palette. So the other eyeshadow palette I've been loving is the Chanel Quad that came out with the Cruise collection. This is actually what I have on my eyes today. I have the two matte colors, so this light matte and this darker matte, you know, just on the outer corner and like in my socket line, just to kind of add a little bit of dimension. And then I added this like metallic taupe shade to the rest of my lid. And that's it. Just a really simple look. And that's why I reach for this palette. If I'm just looking for something really simple, really quick, really uncomplicated, I've been reaching for this palette, and it's just gorgeous. This fourth shade in here that I didn't use today is beautiful. It is like a metallic copper shade. Really great. If I wanted something just a little bit more dramatic, I probably would have used that on my lid. It's like a little bit bolder than the taupe, at least on my skin tone. It's a little bit bolder than the taupe shade. So been loving this. Love the quality of these Chanel quads of late. They are really creamy, really buttery, really like smooth and like easy to blend out, and they last all day. I think I've gotten a few questions about the Chanel quads and their longevity and how they wear during the day. No problems at all. They do not fade for me at all. So love these Chanel quads. And of course, I had to mention the Tom Ford quads. So they just came out with 3 new quads. I did a video on each, and I started with Body Heat, which is, out of the 3, probably the most neutral, but it does lean a teensy bit warm. This one is so, I mean, it's so stunning. All 3 of these quads use that wet dry formula, which is, oh, it's just stunning. I mean, it's just as beautiful dry as it is wet. It just gives you kind of a different look. The wet is just a little bit more opaque, a little bit more bold. But when you use these dry, the sheer satin effect that they give is just as beautiful. So I just love this formula. But here is Body Heat, and these are all looking a little beat up already. And then here is Suspicion. This one I want to say is the warmest. So this is Suspicion, all very warm. I feel like this is very coppery, a little bronze, a little like white gold. And then the last one is Double Indemnity. And I think this one is my favorite. This is the one that's like the most cool toned. This shade, Wet, looks like liquid metal. It's so cool. But I love this kind of metallic taupey shade. This brown comes in very handy. And then this light shade has like just a little bit of like pink to it, like very slight pink to it. So it's just very pretty on the lid. But if I had to choose one, well, it would be between this and Body Heat. I feel like this one is a little bit more evening, a little bit more dramatic. Body Heat is maybe one that I would go for during the day, but I love them all. They're just really beautiful. And then the eyeliner that I've been loving and that I have on today, I have, well, you probably noticed, but I have very light eye makeup on today, mainly because I have a sty in my eye right here. Feels like someone punched my eye right here. But anyway, I didn't bring my eyeliner all the way in because of it. And again, I have really light kind of eye makeup because of it. But I did want to mention this Vague color from Chanel. This is their Stilo Ombre et Contour, kind of like chubby pencils. Again, this is another product that if you guys have been with me for any amount of time, I have been talking about incessantly. I love Electric Brown. That one is like the darker brown with like the metallic kind of glint to it. This one has like a metallic sheen to it also, but it's just a little bit lighter. And it's really nice if you don't want like a really bold eyeliner, if you are going for like a softer eye look. And this came out with the Cruise collection. So I feel like this color works beautifully with that quad, especially that kind of metallic taupe in there. It's just like a deeper version of that. So I've been loving this. And these pencils they just don't budge. If I use it on my waterline, if I tightline with it, on my lid, on my lower lash line, like it just never moves. It never ever budges. And I love it. And I'm so happy that they're kind of like continuously coming out with new colors of these. Really beautiful. So last but definitely not least, lipsticks. I have a lot of lipsticks to mention, so I'll go through them quickly, but let's start with what I have on my lips today. This is the Agatha Orange from Gucci Beauty, and it's one of their sheer formulas. So I did a whole video on these Gucci lipsticks. There's 3 different formulas, a cream, a sheer, and a balm. I have 3 from the cream line. They come in this gold bullet. And I pretty much just got all nudes and love them all. They pretty much just go from like a lighter nude all the way up to like a deeper nude. I'll list all the colors that I have down below in my description box, but definitely check out my video if you want to see like lip swatches and arm swatches and all that kind of stuff. But here is what the sheer lipsticks look like. They come in this rosebud packaging, which is so, so beautiful. But here is Agatha Orange. So this is what I have on my lips today. So it's like, I don't know, to me, it's like the perfect level of sheerness. There's enough pigment there where obviously you're wearing lipstick, but I don't feel like I need a lip liner. With a color like this, I definitely need a mirror, but I feel like I can be a little bit, you know, haphazard with its application. It's not that big of a deal. This color, I feel like I don't need like a mirror. It's just, it's sheer and it's nude. So this one's called Hold Your Man. And this is the other sheer one that I got. It has a little bit of like a peachy base to it, so it's really pretty. And then they also have some balms. So these balms have a thicker texture than the sheer formula, and this is No More Orchids. And there's just a little bit of a tint to it. It just kind of gives my lips, this color gives my lips like a cool down effect, but there's there's 3 colors in this balm, and then there's like a clear one. So there's 4 balms altogether. But if you go onto the Gucci website, or now actually they're available on the Saks website, I'll leave a link down below in my description box. There are so many nudes and like red colors in this line. They came out with like 58 or 56 new colors. Oh, it's overwhelming, but an absolute joy to kind of go through. And I definitely want to pick out, since I went all nude in the cream formula, I definitely want to go and like try and order some reds. But I love these nudes. I love the formula. I love the packaging. Everything about them is fantastic. So I've been loving those Gucci lipsticks. And I do want to mention this Shanta Chi Lip Veil. This particular color is very new to my collection. This is the Frangipani color. This is like a bright orange as well. It's actually very similar to this Agatha Orange, but this has more pigment than the Gucci sheer lipsticks. But I've had this formula before, so I feel like I can talk about this in my favorites because this isn't totally new, but I just love, love, love this Shanta Chi Lip Veil formula. It is beautiful, it's pigmented, it's comfortable on the lips. They're just such a joy to wear and to put on. Just love them. And so this is part of their summer line. Their regular lip veils come in like a navy blue packaging. So this red is like limited edition. There's also an elephant on there. So all the profits go to, I think it's called Elephant Friends is the not-for-profit agency, and it's to help elephants over in Asia. So it's wonderful that these go to a good cause as well. So I had to mention this one. And then I wanted to mention a couple lip glosses. The first lip gloss is the Persona Cosmetics gloss in Toffee. And Persona Cosmetics was actually kind enough to send this to me. And this color, I just love. It has just a little bit of sparkle to it. And I really, for as many lip glosses as I have, you guys know I have a lot of lip gloss, this is pretty unique. I don't have anything that's quite this shade of terracotta. And when I've been doing like a warmer eye look, I've been thinking, okay, what lip do I want to use? And this one has been like the perfect choice. So been loving this, and it has a great texture. Not too sticky, not too oily or loose or thin. Just a really beautiful, kind of like basic lip gloss. Looks great alone, looks great layered over lipstick, and it has just the slightest scent. It's like that birthday cake kind of scent, which I'm not really a fan of, but it's so faint and it fades very, very quickly that it's not bothersome at all. So I'm loving this toffee gloss from Persona. And then the other gloss that I've been loving is the Hourglass Unreal glosses. The Ignite color that I love, which is actually like, it's like a brighter version of this, that is in my purse. So I don't have that with me, but this one is Halo, and this one just gives your lips just a really beautiful kind of like milky, juicy look to them. It's also a great layering color. It's a great kind of like top coat lip gloss. And these Unreal lip glosses have a great formula. They're a little bit thicker than like a traditional lip gloss, but they don't feel heavy. They just feel like they're gonna stay put. They're not very sticky at all, and the applicator is great. It's like a paddle applicator, but it gets fat. It just, I don't know, it just makes it really easy to put on. There's a little bit of a minty sensation to them. I'm not really a fan of like lip plumpers, but these are so subtle. It's more of like a scent than it is a sensation on my lips. So I really don't mind them. And I haven't even hauled this yet, but the last time I stopped into Sephora, I decided I needed to get another one. So I picked up the color Solar, which I haven't even tried yet. But this is one that has like a sheen in there, and it's a little bit of a brighter kind of, it's still very peachy, but it's a little bit more pink than Ignite, which is the other one that I have. So I can't wait to try this solar color. And that's it for lips. Again, I had so many that I wanted to mention, but I was like, let's just cut it off. But the last thing I wanted to mention, and I actually wanted to talk about this before when I talked about foundation, is this foundation brush from Kogendo. So this foundation brush is called the Perfect Foundation Brush. They have two of them. This is the newer one, and these are synthetic fibers, and you guys know that I am a natural hair makeup brush lover, and so I'm always a little skeptical of synthetic brushes, but I do like using them for cream and liquid products because it just makes for like an easier cleanup, and I don't feel like I'm ruining anything. Even though some natural hair brushes can be used with liquids and creams, I don't know, I always feel like I have to be a little bit more careful with it. Anyway, that's just in my head. But this brush is really unique. It is a Kabuki style brush, as you can see. It's just flat top, and it has a pretty dense amount of like bristles in here. There's just something about the way these bristles feel. They just feel very velvety. So it's soft on the skin, but not like soft and slick. Sometimes I feel like synthetic brushes that are just soft are too slick, like they're not useful, like they don't really do anything. But because these have kind of like a velvety texture to them, it really helps like with the blending. And I've been using it with this Water Fresh tint where you need a brush to kind of break up the like pigment bubbles, and it's like a perfect pair. I really love it. This comes with a brush, but it's really tiny, and so I've been opting for a larger brush just to make faster work of applying foundation. And this has been wonderful, and it's soft enough that I even feel comfortable like using it around my eyes for like concealer, just to blend out concealer. And this brush pretty much got me more interested in trying more synthetic haired brushes because I feel like the technology must be changing a little bit. This is the brush that kind of prompted me to get the Westman Atelier synthetic haired brushes, which I'll probably talk about next month because I'm really enjoying those too. But this one I've had more time with. I've spent more time with this one and I've been using it more. I just love the like velvety feel to these bristles. It's great. All right, that's it for this favorites video. Let me know what you guys have been enjoying down below in the comments section. I will leave a link to all the products that I talked about in my description box. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.